Okay, so over by the tractor once again, and really just about ready to reinstall it. And then I don't have any gas right now that I can put in the tractor, but I'll do a startup tomorrow, and then hopefully tomorrow, and then after that I'll just do a little bit of tuning on it. So, one thing I need to point out, which I don't know if it's a design flaw or specific to my carburetor or not, but there's on this fuel pump, there's these two inlets. There's three. This one has been blocked off. This is the actual fuel inlet from the tank, and then this inlet is the vacuum line that goes to into the block, which creates the sucking effect, which moves the gas. And there's this brass piece. It's kind of like a piping nipple, but there's no threads on it. Just one end goes in here, the other end goes into the fuel line. And for some reason, this one gets eaten by the fuel line. So this is the second time I've ever gone through this carburetor. First time I did a thread about it, actually. Not with the purpose of being informational, but just because I was going through it. But just use vice grips with very little pressure, and you can take this little inlet nipple piece. So you'll see the part with the ridges is what goes into the line, and this part goes onto the pump. So I assume that at one point there was adhesive in here, which would have held it in a little bit better, but I haven't found that to be a problem yet. Notice I say yet, but still. So what we're going to do is take the carburetor, and let's see. We're going to want to thread our fuel pump back on, like so. And keep in mind, this is the only time we're going to have really to work on the fuel pump, so we're going to need to put it in its final position, which it very handily locks into, like so. So what we're going to do to start is reattach the choke cable, which, remember, snaps into there. Let's see if it will. Yep, there we go. Take vice grips and put them on this. So I think this is looks like at one point it was a 3/8 or something like that. But unfortunately the head has been stripped, so I just filed it down so that there was two straight edges on it, and then used vice grips on it, like so. Oops, forgot something. Very important. I just forgot. Remember, we want to reattach the choke, which is what I neglected to do. So we're going to pop our cable off. Remember, it goes in the upper of the two holes there. Let's see if that's a slightly better angle. I can't really tell, but so we just pop our choke cable in and kind of angle it around a little bit. It's kind of a funky setup. So now that's in, and we reattach the choke cable here. Unthread it a little bit, pop it back in, and let's see, we have no choke right now. So the dashboard choke is off, so that can help me decide where to eventually put this. I'm just gonna put it, not really sure. I'll just put it there, just because that's where the paint's been worn off. As you can tell, this engine was repainted at one point by previous owner, and which is in some cases kind of helps, because you can tell where certain things go based on how the paint lines up. I'm just going to put my vice grips back on, lock them in, see if that'll do the trick. That seems pretty solid to me. Also going to want to take our breather tube. At some point we're going to need to put that back in. Put the vice grips down. Okay, we've got to reconnect our throttle connection. There's only one hole, which makes it very, very simple. No multi-hole things on here. Pop my air filter piece back in here, and another design flaw, but oh well. Line our holes up here, and let's see, that one's caught. This one's caught. Is my breather tube in? It is not in. Gotta work that in so it sits in the air intake. One thing you'll notice when working on an updraft carburetor such as this one is that oftentimes there will be oil-ish stuff collecting in the air filter, and that is simply caused by this breather tube. So when you got oil sloshing around inside the engine, and it'll run through here, and sometimes these will smoke a little bit. And it's could be an obvious reason, such as poor mixture, too much oil in the gas, or bad rings, or something to that effect. Or it could be just oil getting into the breather tube and then being burnt. How am I doing for time? 7 minutes. Very good. Okay. Doing good. So I got my throttle connected. Let's see how that is. Not the greatest, but then again, this does need new springs. There we go. Okay. That is satisfactory for the time being. So now I'm just going to reattach these screws with my flathead screwdriver. Once again, being careful not to over tighten them in any way. Okay. So all my connections are good. Now I'm going to reconnect my fuel lines. Now remember, my upper tube is, my upper line rather, is my fuel line coming from the tank, and that goes in this upper of the two inlets, which has the 90-degree bend in it. So keep that in mind for the time being. Now my breather tube simply slides on here, slide my hose clamp down, and just angle it down a little bit so it doesn't get in the way of the fuel line that is soon to be right above it, and give that a good tightening. Fuel clamps, yet again, are something that you want to put a fair amount of tension on so that you get a good seal and you don't allow gas or air to get in or out. And but you also don't want to crank them down too hard, because you can crack your line, which will inadvertently let air and fuel in and out. So we're just going to put our top fuel line in, slide that down so that it's in its final resting position. Give it a little bit more slack so that it can slide over like that, and tighten that down pretty nicely, and really give these a nice good cranking on. I never had to take this intake manifold off, just because in between videos I looked up there with a little flashlight and it looked clean to me, so that was kind of one of those good enough type deals. Really, the only thing left to do is reinstall the air cleaner. So we take our actual cleaning piece and slide that on, so it gets a nice sitting in there. Take one of our wing nuts and just thread that in. And give a nice tightening, I think. May have taken the wrong one, but nonetheless, I'll just take her out and put the next one on. I think they're slightly different. Maybe not, but are we missing anything? I don't believe we are, but my threads were running out, so I think I will go get a washer and place that in there. Just grab that really quick. Alright, so I got my a new washer with a 3/8 inch hole in it. Just slide that down, pop the top up, and put my wing nut back in. Make sure that the cleaner is sitting as it should within the setup and whatnot. And that's my culprit right there, is that I didn't have the little disc in the right place. So that's about good. Don't worry if you don't get complete tension on it, because there is room for play from the factory, I believe. So now we just take our cleaner housing and gently place that on top. Gently, just because you don't want to gouge the metal or anything. And put that back on. Put your last wing nut on, and there we go. So we have removed, disassembled, clean, reassembled, and put back on the tractor our carburetor and our air cleaner assembly. So now the only thing left to do, really, to complete this project is put some fuel in it, and don't have a battery, and the starter system's all weirded out, so I'll do a pull start, but unfortunately I do not have fuel for it right now. So hopefully tomorrow or the next day I will be able to post a video of it running and just do some light tuning, and I'll show you how to lean it in till it misses and richen it till it misses, and then do all sorts of stuff like that. But this is my entry for D-Dog's contest, and I hope that everybody who watched this progression of videos was able to come away from it learning something new. And for those of you that have worked on these carburetors before, I hope it was an accurate and detailed description, and one that will serve as a good reminder on how to work on these. So thanks very much. Good luck to myself as well as my fellow forum members who may be entering this contest. Kingswood 990 off the top of my head, and thank you very much for watching.